السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابه أجمعين وبعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته to all our viewers. Welcome back to this second episode of The Ultimate Journey. Brothers and sisters in Islam, today I want to endeavor to take you through this journey, further in this journey, but first of all, I have to first bring you into the rules and I would say the definition of this journey. Today particularly we're going to look at the definition of Hajj. Brothers and sisters in Islam, if we look at Hajj, the word Hajj, then we see that it has two meanings. It has a meaning by the Arabic language and it has a meaning according to the Sharia, according to the Islamic law, Sharia. In the Arabic language, brothers and sisters in Islam, Hajj means just to visit a place that is holy. Any place that is holy, we can use this word as Hajj if we visit it. But if we should describe it according to the Sharia, according to Islamic law, then it is to visit a place that is holy, and this is then governed by laws and regulations, i.e. it starts with a niyyah, which is the ihram, and it ends off with the tawaf al-ifadah. This is for Hajj. It starts with the niyyah, which is the ihram, and it ends off with tawaf al-ifadah. We ask ourselves, brothers and sisters in Islam, when did Hajj become wajib? We then see that Hajj became wajib in the 6th year after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed the hijrah. But we see that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam only performed his Hajj in the 10th year after the hijrah, after having performed 4 umrahs. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed an umrah first, which was not completed, when he wanted to enter Makkah al-Mukarramah and was stopped at Hudaybiyah. We know the history. When Quraysh stopped the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well as the Sahaba Ikram in Hudaybiyah. That was, we say, one umrah. Although the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not go and complete the umrah, they released themselves from the ihram and paid the hadi. The second umrah, brothers and sisters in Islam, was the year after that, in which we call Amul Fath, the year of victory, when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came into Makkah al-Mukarramah, and he then, brothers and sisters in Islam, performed an umrah, and that was the year when the Muslims took over Makkah al-Mukarramah without bloodshed. The next umrah after that was after the battle of Hunayn, when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam donned ihram with the Sahaba Ikram at Jahrana and entered Makkah al-Mukarramah from Jahrana, camped at a place called Ma'abda, and before going into Makkah al-Mukarramah, sent a delegation into Makkah al-Mukarramah to ask Abu Sufyan and the rest of the Quraysh to accept Islam. When we know that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then performed that umrah, and that was the 3rd umrah. The 4th umrah that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed was in the 10th year of the hijrah, when he performed the Hajj. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed Hajj as a qiran, meaning that he joined the niyyah of umrah and Hajj together on this journey when he went and performed the Hajj. So we can see then that, brothers and sisters in Islam, that yes, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed 4 umrahs prior to performing the Hajj. Many a times we are being asked the question, is it preferable to perform Umrah first and then perform Hajj? In my opinion, I would say yes. If we want to conform to the Sunnah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is better for us to first perform Umrah before we perform Hajj. Allah knows best. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we ask the question then, when is Hajj compulsory upon a person? Or when does it become compulsory upon a person? And we see, brothers and sisters in Islam, that Hajj will become compulsory on a person on the first day of Shawwal. If the person takes account or stock of him or herself, and that person meets the istita'a. In other words, if on the first day of Shawwal, this means Eid al-Fitr, if on this day the person has got the health, the person has got the wealth, the person has got the safety, it is safe to go, and the person has the knowledge to go and perform Hajj, then Hajj becomes a compulsory on that person. Meaning, this person is not allowed to put this Hajj out for a later stage. Meaning the person should go. The person also had to develop spiritually, obviously. And this is why the person that had to come through the 5 stages or the 4 stages of spiritual development in order to reach the last stage of Arkan al-Khams, the 5th Arkan of Islam, which is Hajj. The person had to develop him or herself spiritually in order to do so. But it is quite obvious, the person will not have the knowledge, the person won't have, brothers and sisters in Islam, the other facets of istita'a if the person did not develop him or herself spiritually to undertake this journey. Let us look also, brothers and sisters in Islam, at the laws for the correctness, or I would say, yes, the correctness to perform Hajj, which we call in Arabic the shurut sihha, the shurut for the correctness, the laws for the correctness of Hajj. These are 4. Number 1, the person must be a Muslim. The person must be a Muslim in order to perform Hajj. Hajj is not a fard on a non-Muslim. Often I am being asked the question, is Hajj a fard on a person that is in irtida, the person that become murtad, that has left the fold of Islam to any other religion? Yes, Hajj is still a fard upon this person. Like Salah is still a fard upon this person. Like Zakah and Sawm is still a fard upon this person, even though this person has left the fold of Islam. When this person returns to Islam, all these will hang over his neck or on his neck, because he has to pay back that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, the person must be bulugh. He must be baligh, the person must be muqallaf, or the person must have reached the age of puberty. Meaning he or she must be matured before he or she can perform Hajj, or before Hajj is a fard or is accepted from such a person. Number 3, sanity. The person must be by his or her full senses. Hajj, brothers and sisters in Islam, is not a fard. It is not a must on those people that are not by their full senses. So the person must be by the full senses and must be sane before Hajj is a fard upon this person. Number 4, freedom. Meaning freedom from bondage. Must not be a slave. Must not be a person that is under the law of correctional services. Maybe the person is just been released from prison and the person is under laws of what we call parole laws or things like that. Person must also be free from any contractual liabilities, etc. Person must be free of debt. I'm often asked this question. Yes, the ultimate aim is that the person must be free of debt. But if we find ourselves in the situation today where we have debt of maybe a bond or other debt that is larger than the debt of our Hajj, the ultimate aim is always to first get rid of our debt. First to settle our debt before we go and perform the Hajj. But if there is a contract in place for us then to conform to the contractual obligations that we have. Let me give an example. If for argument's sake, I am a builder and I have a contract with a client that I will be completing his or her house in such and such a time, and this time runs over the period of Hajj, and I am going to perform Hajj. I am not allowed to go and perform Hajj and leave this contractual obligation just like this. I have to first fulfill my contractual obligation or receive permission from the person that I have this contractual obligation to, that yes, I can go and perform this journey of Hajj. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this is a very, very important facet, because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us, and Allah teaches us, that the mu'min always carries out his or her contractual obligations first before anything else. We are bound to our contractual obligations. So thus we can say that yes, the person wanting to perform Hajj must be free in this sense. So we can see then, brothers and sisters in Islam, I will repeat that, the shurut to sihha, the shuruts for the correctness of performing the Hajj is: number one, the person must be Muslim. Number two, the person must be baligh, he must be mukallaf, or the person must be matured, so to say. Number three, the person must be sane. Number four, the person must have the freedom to perform Hajj. Very tricky question, often asked. And I have to say this. Often I am asked this question: what if the person has got more than one wife? The one wife has given permission for the man to go for Hajj, and the other wife says, no, I'm not granting you permission to go for Hajj. Tricky situation, isn't it so? Brothers and sisters in Islam, sorry to say, in this case, the husband does not have the permission from the second or the third or the fourth wife to go for Hajj. He should follow his contractual obligations to his wife and not perform the Hajj until she gives him the permission to go and perform the Hajj. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this can be debated. Many a times I find that our scholars are of the opinion Hajj is a fard upon the person and he has to go when he has to go. Yes, but he also has to fulfill his obligations when he has to fulfill his obligations, especially when it comes to his spousal obligations that he has. Brothers and sisters in Islam, let us further then look at istita'ah, at by the means. We will then see that istita'ah is further divided into two. It is divided into independence and dependence. Now if you look at independence, brothers and sisters in Islam, this means this is 100% in the case of men, where men are not obligated to the help of a third party. In other words, the man first of all is not compelled to have a mahram. Right? Secondly, the man, brothers and sisters in Islam, is not dependent on a third party's help unless he is blind, unless the person is an invalid, is in a wheelchair, then it does not fall under this facet of independence, or unless maybe the person is, I would say, impaired in any way that he cannot see to himself, right? Then this man will not fall under independence. The person that is completely sane, the person that is completely wholesome, the man especially, will fall under this banner of independence, meaning he is independent to go and perform this journey. Although he is also dependent on the wife's permission, like I have said, if he undertakes this journey. Brothers and sisters in Islam, if we look at the second one, dependence, we will find that yes, this can be either men and in all cases women. Women are always dependent when it comes to this part of istita'ah. What do we mean by that, brothers and sisters in Islam? The woman is dependent on traveling in the company of a man that she cannot get married to, which is called a mahram. Secondly, the person that is not wholesome, the man that is not wholesome, is blind, or is an invalid, or is perhaps in a wheelchair, or whatever and needs to go and perform Hajj, this person is dependent on the help of a third party. So these are the people that will fall under what we call those that fall under the istita'a of dependence and those that fall under the istita'a of independence. Brothers and sisters in Islam, let's move forward and we look at today also the traveling of a woman. This, brothers and sisters in Islam, is always a very contentious issue when it comes to the subject of Hajj and Umrah, the ultimate journey. A woman falls under the rule of dependence because there is a distinct difference between the travel of a man and a woman. The man is free from the laws that he should be traveling in the company of a mahram and can travel on his own if he has the permission of his wife or wives to do so. The woman on the other hand is not allowed to travel on her own unless she is in the company of a mahram. And this, brothers and sisters in Islam, is conclusive by all the madhaib. All the schools of thought teaches us this, that a woman firstly needs to be dependent on a mahram. Why? Because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith, لا تسافر المرأة ثلاثة إلا معها ذو محرم. That verily there is no travel for a woman. She should not undertake a journey for 3 days and nights or more, except that she is in the company of a mahram. The question was asked, brothers and sisters in Islam, to Imam Shafi'i rahmatullah alayhi by one of his students. Does this mean that a woman can at all not travel on her own if, for argument's sake, the lady became Muslim? She does not have Muslim family, does not have a father that is Muslim, does not have a brother that is Muslim, does not have an uncle or a grandfather that is Muslim, does not have a nephew that is Muslim that she can travel with, does not have a son that is Muslim because maybe she don't have any children, the husband has died. And does this mean that this lady cannot travel for Hajj? Imam Shafi'i says no. This lady can travel for Hajj unless she is in the company of 2 women and more that has got mahrams. So many times we understand this law to be that yes, the lady can travel in the company of 2 and more women and then she don't need a mahram. No, does not mean that, brothers and sisters in Islam. She has to be in the company of 2 and more women, and these 2 or more women must have mahrams. 5 women cannot be maharim to one another. 5 women cannot be the protectors of one another. You know, at least one of them or 2 of them must have mahram so that they can travel together. But we see this is the viewpoint of Imam Shafi'i, but not the viewpoint of Jumhurul Ulama. Thus, I want to caution women today and say to them that before we undertake this journey of Umrah and Hajj, try ultimately to be in the company of a mahram. Be at all times in a company of a mahram, because we are being taught by the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam the reason for the mahram is for the protection of the lady, the protection of the women, right? And this is why the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us that she should not travel for 3 days and more without the company of a mahram. Brothers and sisters in Islam, yes, we do have today that the Hajj ministry of Saudi Arabia does allow women to travel in the company of other women, but then they must be over the age of 45. Meaning, if they are under the age of 45, they are not allowed to travel in the company of other women without a mahram. They must have a mahram. So brothers and sisters in Islam, our first aim is always to see that yes, that we as ladies always travel in the company of a mahram. We ask the question, brothers and sisters in Islam, does a woman need the permission of her husband to travel? I want to say from the outset, yes. No woman is allowed to travel without the permission of her husband. No woman is allowed to leave the house without the permission of her husband. So yes, she has to be either in the company of a mahram, and she must have the permission of her husband to travel whenever she wants to go and travel on Hajj and Umrah, or even if she just wants to travel locally or leisurely, she needs the permission of her husband. We ask also the question, is the woman under iddah allowed to perform Hajj or not? And we see, brothers and sisters in Islam, there are two opinions. Let us look at iddah. What does iddah means? Iddah, brothers and sisters in Islam, are also two types. There is what we call iddatul wafa, that is when the lady's husband has passed away. And we see there are two reasons for this iddah, which is 4 months and 10 days, or if she is pregnant when the baby is born. There are two reasons for this. The one reason is that we have to determine that the husband that has passed away did not leave anything behind in the womb of the lady. Secondly, the lady goes under iddah 4 months and 10 days because she is mourning the death of her husband. And 4 months and 10 days will give her enough time to establish conclusively that whatever is left behind in her womb belongs to her husband that has passed away, or what is not left behind in the husband, yes, that she is not pregnant and that she is now, I would say, performing the iddah or carrying out the iddah because she is mourning the death of her husband to overcome her sadness. If we look at iddatul talaq, as I said in the beginning, there's two types of iddah. There's iddatul wafa and iddatul talaq. We see then that iddatul talaq, brothers and sisters in Islam, are divided into two. It is divided into one where we say iddatun or we say talaq ba'in baynunatu kubra. This is when the husband has given the wife 3 talaqs. We say it is a talaq ba'in baynunatu kubra, that has brought about a big break in the marriage. When this lady, brothers and sisters in Islam, has been issued a talaq like this, it is agreed upon that she can go and perform Hajj, right? She can go and perform Hajj during this time, because it is not necessary for her to make the iddah in the house of her husband. Only by the madhab of Imam Shafi'i, it is necessary for her to make the iddah in the house of her husband. The other ulama says no, it is not necessary for her because there has come a major break in the marriage. She cannot get married to this man again unless she marries another man, unless the other man gives her a talaq. Unless the other man, first the man must sleep with her. After he has slept with her, he has given her a talaq. After he has given her the talaq, she had to do her 3 qurs, 3 menstrual periods had to pass. And after that, she will only be a free man where she can get married to her husband that has given her the 3 talaqs in the first instance. So this is why we say this is baynunatu kubra. When it is what we say a talaq raja'i, baynunatu sughra, meaning a revocable talaq, which brings about a small break within the marriage. In this instance then, we see that the husband has got the right, after he has issued the wife with 1 talaq, that he can make what we call muraja. He can withdraw the talaq according to the laws of withdrawal, right? And once he has done this, his marriage will discontinue. For this reason then, we are being taught by the scholars that this type of woman, this lady that has been given what we call a idda to raj'i, a talaq raj'i, a small talaq or one talaq or two talaqs, not three, one or two talaqs. This lady, right, or this talaq can be withdrawn by the husband, and this lady must perform her iddah in the house of the husband. That is why she is not allowed to go and perform the Hajj during this time. When it comes to iddah to wafa, where the lady has passed on, brothers and sisters, where the husband has passed on, we also see, brothers and sisters in Islam, that there are two opinions. The one opinion says that if the lady cannot cancel the arrangements and there's maybe going to be suffering a great financial loss, this person can go and perform Hajj in the company of a mahram, meaning her son, her brother, her uncle, her father, her grandfather, her nephew, etc., etc., as put out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jalla jalaluhu in the Quran. The second opinion is, if the arrangements can be cancelled, then she has to cancel the arrangements and then put it out for the next year when she is free from the iddah. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this brings us to the end of today's episode, of today's teachings, insha'Allah bi'idnillah, today's lessons. I hope insha'Allah bi'idnillah that you are enjoying the lessons, and insha'Allah bi'idnillah I will see you next time when I have the opportunity again. In the next lesson, brothers and sisters in Islam, we will look at conformity, and then we will also look at leaving our house. What do we do before we leave the house? What do we do when we have decided to go for Hajj? The booking of our tickets, the signing of our contracts, also the appointing of our relevant operators, or I would say tour guides, to take us on this ultimate spiritual journey. Insha'Allah bi'idnillah, until next time, I greet you with the universal greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon each and every one of you. Shukran. Jazakallah khairan.